Such a nice and sunny day outside. I thought I might do a video outside today. I do apologise, I've still got my cough, but it is getting better. Now, as I've been blogging recently about the Department of Work and Pensions and the NHS, one of the main issues is communication. Because each department within the NHS and the DWP, the Department of Work and Pensions, fail to communicate with each other correctly, this is where people are struggling to basically understand what is happening and how they are supposed to access the necessary services or support they need. Now, as I said yesterday, I was literally on the phone yesterday morning from 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the evening, phoning up the Department of Work and Pensions, trying to find out from every single department which benefits had stopped, which benefits were going to be reinstated, which applications or renewal forms they had received. And every single department told me the same thing. We haven't received your information. You're looking at 20 weeks before anything gets sorted out. And I kept saying, you can't do this to people. You cannot expect people to wait 20 weeks for you guys to make a decision as to whether or not they're going to be supported. What have you put in place to support people in that time frame? Are you suggesting they apply for other benefits? Are you suggesting they go on universal credit so that or the new form of job seekers allowance or anything else? And all I kept getting told was, ring back in the morning, ring back every single day this week. And if we have your paperwork, we'll be able to give you an answer. What they failed to tell me was that what they now do for people is they actually text message you. So they text message you to let you know that you have an appointment. They text message you to let you know that they've received your documents. And the one thing they never did was text message me to tell me they had received my son's paperwork for disability living allowance, which is what I get for him due to him living in England. They were adamant yesterday that they had received no documentation for him. Nothing had been received, and for that reason, no decision was likely to be made by Friday of this week. So obviously, with my mental health being the way it is, it's quite fragile at the moment. I was very upset, I was very angry, I was very frustrated, because I said, you don't realise how long these documents take to fill in. I had to get someone to fill it in on my behalf. It took them 2 weeks. That was 2 weeks of somebody else spending their time, their effort, their ability to try and process and understand this paperwork to fill it in for me. This morning at 9 o'clock, I got a text message from the DWP, and I'm like, why are they texting me? This is really bizarre. And the first thing it said was, we've received your documentation for my son for disability living allowance. He has now been rewarded disability living allowance. We will send you a letter to prove that he has been awarded disability allowance. It may take up to 2 weeks to receive this letter. And I'm just thinking to myself, on one hand, I am absolutely relieved that my son's disability has been taken seriously, that he is going to get the help he needs as a person. As an individual, he is not being assessed on me as his mother, he's being assessed as his own person, and the government have accepted the fact that he has got a disability and he does need financial support with that disability. And, it doesn't matter how old somebody is, if they need help and support and there is the option to apply for these things, people should apply. They shouldn't feel ashamed or guilty or be bullied or harassed or to feel like they shouldn't apply. Obviously, he couldn't apply himself. He's 8. And after the way things have been with him recently, the one thing I really, really want to be able to do with the money that he's given is to get him a tutor to homeschool him more, with his English and his maths. At the moment, I am doing it myself. I'm using the Bite Size website, BBC Bite Size. It's been really, really useful. But he needs that extra stepping stone. And my biggest worry was that if his benefit was to have stopped, how would I have afforded a tutor for him? I have tried to get him into mainstream school. I've tried to get him into an SEN school. And in the meantime, whilst these decisions are being made by the Department of Education, I still have to educate my child. He still needs to be able to feel like he is an individual with rights and isn't being basically shoved in a room and basically told, you're never going to achieve anything, you're just going to be a blight on society, what are we going to do with you, sort of thing. And the attitude, like I said, of some people that unfortunately we've encountered with him over the last 8 years has been completely unbelievable. You would think that in the 21st century, people would be a little bit more understanding and considerate of people who are disabled, but they're not. And one of the things we always try to do with my son is treat him the same as our other 2 children. So when he is being hypermanic or getting upset or distressed or violent or aggressive or having a huge meltdown, sometimes we will say to people, we're really sorry, my son's got autism. This is why he's behaving this way. And other times we'll say, yeah, my son is disabled, but at the moment he's just being a little shit. And I will say to him, no, you are not going to use your disability as an excuse to get your own way. It's not going to happen. So it's finding that fine line. So hopefully now that his payments have been reinstated, we can use that money to help him with his social interaction within society, and also to help support his homeschooling more. And and that is the main thing that I want for him. I want him to be able to get to a point where he can be a little bit more independent in the future or achieve things. But I do know that because of his autism and the way he is at the moment, he's always going to need that one-to-one supervision. But that doesn't mean that he shouldn't be able to reach his full potential. So the only thing I guess I want people to take away from this is perseverance. Okay, every time you get told by the NHS or the Department of Work and Pensions, we don't know, ring back tomorrow, make sure you do it. It is stressful, it is time consuming, it is mentally and physically exhausting having to do this, because you do kind of feel like you're doing their job for them. But to then get that text message to say, his benefits are being reinstated, but then to not get a message to say they'd even received the paperwork. It just seems to be an ongoing issue with the Department of Work and Pensions, where, I've had a letter come through the post saying your benefits have been stopped, and then all of a sudden I'll get a text message saying, oh, congratulations, sort of thing, you're going to get paid. Or the same with the NHS. I think I've got something like several letters telling me that my medical procedures at the George Eliot Hospital had been cancelled. To then get a text message telling me, do not forget to attend your medical appointment at the George Eliot Hospital, giving me a time and a date. And then I had to ring them up and say, what's going on? I've just had several letters through the post telling me that my medical procedure has been cancelled. Why am I all of a sudden getting a text message to come to the hospital? And they basically said to me, oh, we had a cancellation. That's why you got the text. And I'm like, right, okay. So when used correctly, modern technology can be an absolute lifesaver. But for some reason, like I've said, with the NHS and the Department of Work and Pensions, they still use the Royal Mail, they still use the postal system, which is brilliant because you want to be having a written evidence of what they've said and what their outcomes are for things. but there's just such a breakdown in communication. And that is the one thing that both of these services need to work on. And so if they do send me another message to say, can you do this online survey? It is the one thing I will say to them is you need to start making sure that the information for people is up to date and that you are communicating properly. Because by not doing that, that is where the problems are occurring. And with people who are, obviously like myself, who suffer with mental health, it does make it worse, not better. So that is a positive today. But again, that money is not mine, it is my child's. And as his carer, it is my job to make sure that that money is used to make his life the best it can be.